Hey.
This is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast, where CEOs, C-suite executives, and senior leaders share their advice. It's 6 questions in 9 minutes because the best leaders know how to share their ideas concisely and quickly. Let's jump right in. Question number 1. In a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm still trying to figure out who I am, but people call me Nathan Craig. I am a father, so I do that pretty hard. I got 4 kids and an amazing wife. I serve in a local church, and I run a business called Culture Insurance. We serve businesses with their insurance needs, ranging from employee benefits to commercial insurance like workers' comp and liability.
That's amazing. How long have you been doing that?
Insurance for 10 years. Started out at a poker table, like all good careers, and here we are 10 years later, which is just wild to me. Running a company, I've got a whole team, and we're not done yet.
Well, that's great. And, I'm really excited to have you on and to have particularly your industry perspective on. As we've been going through and talking to leaders, I think it's really important to kind of think of things from a cross section of, industries and products and services. So we'll be really excited for your insights, because healthcare and insurance is a big part of our lives. So we'll be excited about that. Thank you. Question number 2, what's the best thing about leading people from your perspective?
Well, it's, as you can tell from this baby face, I'm still pretty young, but one of the things that I'm most thankful to have learned in leadership is that the greatest success in leadership and greatest joy comes from seeing others succeed. So putting others in a position to be the best that they can be, to have a fulfilled life, and especially in a career, or as I think about my kids, it's this kind of leadership extends effectively everywhere, is putting others in a position to succeed the best that they can. That's the most rewarding kind of leadership.
Well, and I love your phrase, a fulfilled life, because again, it's a lot bigger than just the job itself, right? I think true leaders help people to create the best version of themselves and help them to manifest their vision and their dreams, and their careers or their jobs are kind of their conduits to do that. So I love that phrase, that fulfilled life. Question number 3, I often hear from other leaders that business would be great if it weren't for that pesky people part. I'm curious, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, the reality is, if we're being vulnerable at some moment, you may catch any leader saying something like that, I think, because you're dealing with people, and people are by nature a hot mess. However, you won't be a leader if you don't have people. And so I think that it's missing the mark on the greatest part of leadership is the people. And so you gotta have your cake and eat it too in this scenario. But the truth is this: if you feel like the people are the problem, you may not be needing to lead those people. That may be your situation. And so I think that you've got to have people to be a leader. And so you should be thankful for them, even though it's complicated, because they're human.
Mm-hmm. As are you, right? As are we.
Oh, yeah.
As leaders. And I love, again, as you reach that juxtaposition of, you're having challenges coaching some people or leading some people, perchance they're not the right ones to be on the bus with you, or perchance it's your opportunity to figure out what's in this for me to grow and to be, to get better in my leadership ability. I've heard
you might be on the wrong bus yourself. You might be driving the wrong bus.
Interesting.
Too, so
yeah.
That's the other, part of evaluation that may need to take place, is whether or not you're driving the right bus.
Bingo. Yeah, it might be you, right? That old breakup, it's not you, it's me. And no, literally, it's you.
Yeah, no, but it is you, yeah.
Yeah, it's you. That's great. That's great. Question number 4. What other successful business leaders like yourself should be on the podcast and should people be paying attention to?
This was in thinking about this was one of the harder questions, because there's so many, and I feel like a lot of times we're tempted to try to rattle off the most impressive people we know and that others might know. But if I'm being honest, the people in my life that I would love to hear from and I've learned the most from, you don't know them. Most people don't know them. And for instance, a guy named Scott Congdon, he started a nonprofit that builds houses down in Mexico for people who need that. He's been leading teams effectively who lead other teams for over 20 years and has just had an international impact, but he's under the radar. So somebody like that, and then an up-and-coming leader that is inspiring me and creating a lot of change in my own life that I'm fully supporting. In fact, as a board member in this organization is a gal named Jamie Beck. She's leading a nonprofit called Free to Thrive, which is leading the charge in new legislation to help women, particularly all victims of human trafficking, with legal matters after they've been victims of trafficking. But the way that they're going about leadership is inspiring, and it is about seeing others succeed and live fulfilled lives like we were kind of talking about earlier.
Gosh, I love it. And again, you're giving us people to pay attention to that are doing well by doing good, making a difference in the world. I love that. Thank you so much. Well, I'm sure the viewers will go out and actually, research them and try to find more information. Question 5, what piece of advice about communication would you give to other leaders?
Well, part of it is, learning by your own trial and error. I think that as it relates to communication, taking the time to think through what you want to communicate before you rattle off a bunch of words could be the most important lesson. So patience in communication leads to clarity. Clarity leads to effective change. It leads to the direction you want. The outcome you want comes through thoughtful, patient communication.
That was
if
my
you're angry,
soundbite.
don't send that email, right? Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah. If you're angry, don't send the email. That's the other one, right? People type up the big, long emails, and there's great wisdom in sitting on it and letting yourself calm down before you fire off that email that derails your career and goes public on, the social Twitter space and all that stuff. So, but it is about patience.
Patience, write it, don't send it, think it, don't say it, right? Like some of these exercises and the pause in between, the input and the output. I love that. All right, final question for you in the last minute that we have. Tell us about your favorite boss or teacher. Who inspired you?
Yeah, my favorite, this goes teacher for me. Strangely enough, of my career, I haven't had necessarily the greatest string of bosses, which is probably because I'm a millennial and difficult to coach. But if it wasn't for that, I think I have got a teacher, Dr. Lisa Gates. Dr. Lisa Gates changed my life. She's the one that convinced me to end up going to the school that I went to where I got my degree. And she challenged me because she made me perform at a level higher than I thought I could. She made me try things I didn't think made sense. And small examples of that, I graduated with a degree in communication from San Diego Christian College, and I was pretty much coasting in college. And she was the one that said, Nathan, you need to do more. You need to try harder, and you need to effectively be more. And made me do things even like speech and debate. I thought that was dumb. I was a sports guy. I was like, no, I can't hit anyone. I'm not doing it, And what I learned was that the mental rigor of something like speech and debate was more fulfilling in a competition sense than any sport I'd ever played. But she was the one that pushed me to go and try to compete nationally and things like that changed my life. And so the kind of the lesson there is what makes her great is kind of what I've talked about, is that she challenged me, she pushed me, and she saw me have more fulfillment in my life. And that's what made her a great teacher.
I love that. Oh, thank you so much for being on the show, Nathan. It's always such a pleasure. Little secret, Nathan and I are actually friends, so I get the privilege of actually
Crick and McKibben.
I get the privilege to hang out with you every now and again, and it is always fun. And I always learn something. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. How can people find you? I know other people are going to want to try to get more of that goodness from you. So, where can they find you?
Yeah, so my company's Culture Insurance Group. You can find me on LinkedIn with the name Culture Nathan Craig, CRAIG, or you can email me, nathan@cultureinsurance.com, and would love to connect with anybody who just wants to connect. And Stacy knows I'd like to go sit at coffee shops or a good brewery. I'll settle for beer or coffee anytime. So.
That's right. That's right. Well, awesome. Well, thank you again so much. This is Stacy McKibben with the Master Communicator podcast. For more insights and ideas, please visit us at www.concilioteam.com. We look forward to seeing you again next time.
Are you